there is a rapid acceleration that is happening. You are absolutely in a new energetic frequency. There is essentially, we will say to you, a new template that has become the way of life. This is an acceleration that is something that some of you have been noticing even in the last few weeks, few months, many for the few months of this year even. You have started to understand that this is the new norm. We give a big smile for that. The reason we say this, new norm, because some people have come to us and said, when is it going to lighten up, Osairah? And we say that is why we say this is the new norm of your reality experience as you continue to evolve. And what is happening is you are stabilizing on the new frequencies of the expansion and getting more used to riding these bigger energetic waves. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So energetically, you are doing various levels of this expansion within you that is bringing you to new awarenesses, new awakenings, new ways that your own template within, your own blueprint, human blueprint within you is resonating to this new template that is upon your earth. This is an extraordinary way for us to be able to talk about it through the languaging of our beloved channel. When we come through, the 12 of us, in this way, we are offering the many ways that we can output the synthesizing the energies of consciousness through language. And yet, that is landing in your laps, in your heart, in your body, mind, in the consciousness, in your mind, the way in which you process and think you're thinking about, in different ways for all of you. But it is assimilating into your own blueprint for exactly what it is you need at this time. We are noticing some of that conversation previously, so that is accurate. And one of the things is that as you continue to ride the new waves of the timelines as they are evolving so quickly, you will, some of you are, we are already registering in this room, some of you and in those who would potentially be listening again, would be expanding at times where you're feeling some of the highs of your life, feeling very good. And then there's also going to be those places where at times you're feeling the very, very lows. Now, this is not to say that you are any of the labels that your modern society likes to label people in regards to things like bipolar, schizophrenia. You have not lost your mind, but it would be good to lose your mind. And so we would say that when you ride these waves and how it is that one day you feel, I am so good. And then the next day, I am not so good. This expansion is you beginning to understand how multidimensional you really are and how it is that you are literally reclaiming the fractal aspects of all timelines of your beingness, of consciousness, and the awareness of all life that is running through you as you. And it is integrating, synthesizing, and hooking itself up to become the literal fabric of your beingness, the consciousness of that which you are in flow with in this life force. So one of the things we want to say, now for some of you, this is going to be what we would say is we are not slowing down. Some of you might notice this. We are not slowing down the train. We are landing these newer kinds of thought forms, principles, ideas. We are moving the train ahead. For a while in time there, for a number of years, we would have to how should we say that? Reiterate, come back to, say the same thing in a new way, about 10, 15, almost 1,500 times. And now we are noticing how it is that even if this is the first time you're with us, and thank you very much for being with us, but if it is the first time you're being with us, there is you have stepped onto a new platform of your own beingness. Now all of you are doing that regularly, and what is happening is within this new, how should we say that? Platform, more than that, foundational ways of living, you are incorporating this new template, and it is an expansion within you. Now, when we talk about codes, Codes are a part of the, how should I say that, light grid that you are as a being. You have many layers of your consciousness, layers of the expanded versions of you within this version of the many that you are here in this body. Your form, called the body, in the way of being matter, as you understand it, perceive it, and are experiencing it this way, third dimensionally, is literally similar to, we will say this, how can we slow that down? We need to slow that down, we recognize. The body of your earth herself. Your earth herself, Gaia, she is literally your, how should we say that expression of, ascension platform. She is the way in which souls, as a direct result of incarnation after incarnation after incarnation after incarnation, have accumulated to finally be here now, is in this way actively participating in how it is that you become conscious with form, not just at the death experience, become conscious within being in a body, so that you can step yourself up even further while having a body on your body of the earth that is moving you towards what is often referred to as the ascension experience. This is a lot for those of you who might just have stumbled in this conversation, but at the same time, we are recognizing that pretty much most people, especially most people who would be here listening to this anyway, are already on the road. You understand?
Yes.
So when we talk about how it is that form, the physicality of being, the way in which you are having the experience of what you would call physical bodiness, your physical body is essentially trillions and billions beyond measure of codes within. All of your cells, literally all of the cells, have their own consciousness. What? Each and every cell in your body consciousness has its own consciousness, and it is a part of the whole. It is similar to how you look around and you see the trees, and then you look up and you see the sky, and you see the bird, and you see the clouds, and you see and feel the wind. It is all part of the one, yes? Just as you are here. So what we would like to draw the attention to in particular this day is how it is that as the spirit of consciousness known as the creation itself, which is what you quote are, you have essentially, how should we say that? We don't like that word, right? But could you say, in this way, in a certain kind of sense, the consciousness as the one of the allness of creation has, we will use this word and we give it those things you call quotation marks around it, fragmented to know itself. And here you are, and you look upon another, and you think at times you are separate. Now many of you are starting to understand that you're never separate, and that there is this oneness of all creation. But the thing we would like to particularly focus on this day has to do with how it is that as you have come to be the consciousness you are in this body, how is it that you can operate your consciousness in this body to recognize that you are literally all consciousness that you have always and already been. Meaning the past, present, and the future, as it is said in regards to time, is all happening right here and right now. That is a lot for you to turn around in the thinking mind. Energetically, one of the things we would like to put to you and offer you as we move forward in various ways of this conversation is that your own light quotient is a direct result, meaning, how should we say that? Meaning, the light quotient you carry and how it is you amplify your own consciousness is a direct result to a certain extent, and what is that extent we'll come back to the calibration that you are willing to wake yourself up. All the little things you quote do in the world add up to that. One thing that we have been focusing on lately with many of our human friends is the literal light quotient that you will receive by the energy of the sun. To take in the sun's rays. Before we have many times said that the sun's rays carries the information that meets the quotient of light here on the planet that is activating for consciousness to create form. in some ways, what you would say, in order to manifest. What is fascinating is that, no, we'll back that up, not to say fascinating. What it is the fascination that people have not had in the most recent historical timelines, you understand? Like what we would say about maybe 200, 500, 600, 1,000 years, maybe less, have lost their love and appreciation for understanding the sunlight. This is a huge thing at this time on your planet. Does that make sense?
Yes.
What we would say in regards to that is to be in a conscious communication with your benevolent, creative influencer, the sun. It literally is downloading next level codes to your planet. And because you are an electromagnetic being of consciousness and you are actively alive, as you would say, on this planet in this dimension, you are here for that kind of upgrade. You are here to wake yourself up with these codes that are coming in. The photonic light belt that is happening and dropping these codes in at certain points, especially on your planet where there has not been interference, is helping the consciousness expand. Some people would say awakening is happening everywhere. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. It really is. You have stepped yourself up in the last 5 years especially to the greater next levels. So you're in it now. It's not when will we be there. You are here. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So in this evolutionary consciousness jump that is expanding you on so many levels, we would say how it is that you can help yourself is to pay attention to the most simplest things. It is not high technology here. It is really, to a certain extent, the simplest old technologies. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. One of those being allow the sun to hit at your third eye area. Allow the sun to heal your body with the skin. Does not mean you have to burn yourself, as they say. You have been a little programmed, we will be honest with you to say, that you have been slightly programmed in the last few hundred, less than that, years about the sun. And we would say to you, this is one of those practical moments when we get very practical. We would say that, how should we say that? Looking. Your sunscreen is more toxic to you than the sun. Absolutely, 100% more toxic to you than the sun. So then if you were to take, how should we say that? The sun to your body, and maybe you didn't want to have it if you were walking around all day. You didn't want to have it all day. Well, then cover yourself in some way, but not necessarily with sunscreen. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Because you will not only help the melanin, which will help in your pineal gland and the activation and awakening of the pineal gland, which has the crystals that will wake you up to different dimensional fields of consciousness. And the more you wake up to the different dimensional fields of consciousness in your regular daily life, you amplify your ability to learn to navigate multidimensionally. And as you navigate multidimensionally, you continue to evolve the consciousness through being in the physical body and staying awake, meaning not dying. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So this is a lot, and yet we see that you are receiving it. We are recognizing the way in which you are in a harmonious alignment. This is wonderful. So let us see where we'd like to go from here. The template that is happening upon your planet at this time, you are aware, many of you are aware, that there is a restructuring ahead, yes?
Yes.
You can see it all about you, yes?
Yes.
And so some of our human friends have chosen to get a little into fear. Those of you who choose not to get into fear will fare better. The thing you can expect is everything to change. So you know, as we come forward with our human friends, integrating for you and with you in the connection of the highest light, we never give you what we would say is direct prophecy because you are in an evolution. You are evolving as consciousness of the one that you are, which is the one that you are. So as you are, as we've always said, the human choosers, because, dearest ones, with your first breath, your own physical body's first breath as a baby being born in consciousness into this reality, that first breath activated your electromagnetic system to operate in this field concentrated as a consciousness held within a physical body. When you are activating on a consciousness level regularly, how did we get here? We were noticing the breath. Your breath is the breath of life. The creation that you are activating at this time by holding this kind of consciousness regularly is constantly in the expansion. That is one of the reasons why when you opted to be here now in this lifetime and evolve, as you would see, as the age progresses you, as you call it aging, progresses you, you came to be at exactly all these particular points in the collective experience and agreement exactly at these times so that you could absorb what is happening just the same, so that you could be a part of that field of awakening. So, too, then, are you a field of that destruction? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. There must be, the changing is going to require the destruction of that which is not necessary and cannot be contained any longer in order for the new to be born, right? So as you see these various kinds of structures in the world, meaning structures, values, the ways in which people are changing, the ways in which monetary things are changing, the ways institutions are changing, the way in which consciousness is changing, the way in which there's new technologies, there are many, 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 many different roads and realities. You are human choosers. This is where it all began. Human choosers, as you are, we can never say to you, it will go this way, it will go that way. What we can say are, there's many different realities to experience. Is that seen? Mm-hmm. We are saying that very particularly. There are very many different realities that can be experienced. We used to talk pre-2012, that's what we say right now. Is pre-2012, we were saying it in a kind of languaging that landed it like this. We would say, you will have different Earth experiences. And people would say, Earth A and Earth B. Do you see what we're saying? And that was a kind of a conversation at those times. And what we are saying to you now, because you can handle it, is that there are many, many different realities to choose from. You already get that to a certain extent, but what you don't understand is many of you feel locked into your reality. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. You think, well, this is my reality. It's always been my reality. I live in this house. I know these people. These are my family members. This is what I do. This is where I go. It's kind of all this. Oh, I change it up every once in a while. I go here, I go there. Maybe I move over here, I'm over there. And I get these new friends, a little bit of these new friends, but I always have those friends. And you keep a lot of what you say is, this is my reality. Do you see what we mean? Mm-hmm. We are saying to you that if you step back from all of that and in effect, distance more than that, dissociate to a certain extent, step away from, it's like having a beautiful bird's eye view. Be like the hawk that goes up and up and up and up and up and rides the waves of the wind that carries the hawk up higher and higher and higher. Sometimes so high they are just from your sight down here, you can see a dot in your sky, yes? Mm-hmm. Ride up high, that high, and look down upon your life and you in the many ways that you are participating in yourself, in your life, in the realities that you are choosing. And from that vantage point, ask yourself truly, what does he, she really want there, do there, get there, be there? Is that all? We are saying that not because what is there is wrong, but because it's valuable to ask the question. You did not come in here in a physical body at this time on this planet with the evolution of humanity's consciousness evolving so swiftly to stay in a tiny box. We're not saying your box is wrong, and if this reality suits and this is right and this is perfect, let that be until it's not, if it's not. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, but we are saying, we are begging for you to ask the question of yourself, what is it that this soul, emanation of the consciousness of the oneness that wishes to express all that it has here and give every ounce of it for this time, here, now, in every moment, is here for? That doesn't mean you won't stay in the same experience to a certain extent. You may choose an alternate reality within that seemingly same experience. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Some of you can imagine, we would say, standing in your own kitchen, yes? See yourself in your kitchen. And you're standing in your kitchen, and maybe your kitchen has a window and you're looking out. But from this vantage point, you are seeing from the hawk's eye view, you are looking in at the one called you in your kitchen, having many options before her or him, looking into the multi-dimensional realities of the various, how should we say that, tracks of the experiences that you can walk down. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we are really saying to you, it's all right here for you. You are the manifesting, co-creating consciousness of creation embodied. That was a good one. Did you notice?
Yeah.
Yes. You are the manifestation of the co-creation of consciousness of the creation in experiential now. There is no other time than this, because in the other, quote, times of existence where you still are participating in, you are there and here simultaneously. You have gathered it all. There is only one thing. How it is that you split and recognize that is actually, how should I do that? I'm going to say gift, but not quite gift. Word. An ability of expanded consciousness. So as you keep moving through these ways of experiencing yourself and the reality you are participating in, the experiences of your realities that you choose, you may pick up and go clear across the world and find yourself in another reality. You may stay right there in your kitchen and choose to have an entire other reality happening within you and never having to go across the world. Does that make sense? Yes. But either way, no matter if it's across town, across the world, or you stay right where you are, this is it. This interior experience of consciousness is it. Because when this flowers and completely opens within you, and you get it, what we are talking about, energetically, you will know there is no separation. There is no thing that is a distance from me. There is no thing that I cannot do, be, have, experience, because I am the creation. And you will stop playing small. You will own all of yourself. You will be uninhibited, unapologetic for the power of the light of transformation that is you as consciousness. Not you, personality, egoic self, although that will get rewired too and play the game completely differently. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. We say, whoa. We think you might be saying, whoa. Yes. Because this would be helpful for you to take a moment. Yes. This is good stuff, we say. And we are saying to you it is next level because in this expansion, to actively be the participation of consciousness as this being is embodied, really we want to say something to you. You have reached the pinnacle. You don't see it yet, but you have reached the pinnacle. You have reached a pinnacle place. It does not mean that you won't necessarily opt for coming to do this again. It doesn't mean that. Look at what it is right now. What it is to have a body. To be form of all consciousness and all possibility, magnified as this holy experience of consciousness as soul self in a body system to participate in a worldly projection of all creation. Wow. When we say these things, we want you to see it from our perspective. We say these things and we drop particulars at certain times in the languaging. We definitely sync up words, as you see, in a particular context and intonations purposefully. Because this is the code for your awakening. Each of you, this is landing perfection for you to have your perfect aha moments. And that will layer in and layer in and layer in and layer in and layer in on all that you are building. This moment, previous times, and forward movements. It is an expansion. That is what life calls for. Life is expansion. Life is always in the flow, in the move. Here's the thing that our human friends sometimes miss. The divinity, literally, of being alive. In a body, with consciousness that is expanding, to step yourself up, to be awakened, enlightened. We don't care what you say, the words are like, to a certain extent we say it's all one thing. To remember that you made a very particular choice to participate as the oneness of creation. Some of you call this God, some of you call it various names. We don't really have a particular choice to say. We often use the word source as a good way to say, but we also use the word creation, because creation is what you are. To have the experience to be in the recognition that divinity as creation is what you are, allows you to then have this experience where you can look around the experience of life. It could be sitting in your yard, it could be climbing a mountain, it could be sitting at the ocean, it could be sitting with a friend on a busy street, it could be having an intimate moment with a child or a lover. There's so many different moments of possibility of the now presence for you to say, oh goodness, the sanctity of this beautiful existence, the life that I am having, the observation to be a participation in the co-creation of, wow, take a look, snapshot. Does that make sense? We hope that you will gather within you some of that this day from everything we're laying down, so that as you go into the world, these days, these months, these weeks, these years to come, you will pause in the moments when it looks like destruction. You will see a lot of crumbling. We don't say this for the fear factor by any measure. We say, there is no fear factor. Remember, you came out of the darkness of a womb, right? You made the journey to embody onto a planet experience in the third dimensional consciousness, and to have essentially all of your plans and reasons for coming wiped. That, dear ones, is destruction. That is change. That is something that then now I must navigate, you see? Now the oneness is on the quest of the mystery to navigate the reflection of the holiness that it is. Is that seen? That is what is happening here. And so we are next leveling it with all of you and any who would listen to this because of this. As you are going through the many, many layers of the experience of being human in these years to come, these months to come, you are most definitely noticing already the many waves. Get used to it. And as you get used to the waves as they are, give yourself a big break, we say. Lighten up on yourselves and each other. Know that it is no easy task what you are doing. You are becoming anew. You are the consciousness breeding, experiencing, bridging new worlds. You are the reflection of the divine that begs to say, are we ready yet? To have the light and the love be the reflection of that which is called to form. The evolution of the experience of being on this earth and moving through your solar system, the galaxy, the way in which the universe is moving and propelling you, especially as it is, hurtling through changes. We will say it like that. If you can accept that that is what is occurring and be gentle with yourself and take those deep breaths to remember that you activated as a physical being of consciousness, the electromagnetism of the grid of life and light that you are in a physical form as the pinnacle of experience to literally assist life itself with the consciousness known as Earth, as she is a living being of consciousness. And she is your portal for ascension. That is why you will have the breakdowns. Because what can no longer thrive must dissolve. What no longer supports life must die. And a new will be born. A new will be birthed on so many levels. And that will begin with the collective agreements of consciousness. Is that seen? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We are recognizing whether or not we missed anything that we really wanted to spurt out. Well, we would say we've talked a lot. There is a two things, there it is. So we will recognize to say this as we will return back to one of our oftentimes favorite little quotations here. Choosers, human choosers that you are. When you are going through these changes of evolving as you, the you-ness of the oneness, of the wholeness, of the holiness, that is only light and eternal living and eternal life force as one, essentially, seeming to be separated in bodies. You, as you choose to remember that that is what is happening here, will blow your own minds. You really will. And it'll take some navigation. You will have to steady yourself at times. You will say, oh, wait, well, hold on, wait, I can't quite get that one in, hold on. And you will pull yourself back so that you can let yourself stabilize with some new energetics that are physically embodied in consciousness. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So at times when there is human choosing that you do, as we say, you are a human chooser. You are continually aligning yourself to remember that you are in great collaborations. We would say to you, another aspect of that human choosing is this. Choose to be in communion and conscious contact with the invisible realm. here we come this day in particular, as we do with our beloved channel. Well, we're always there with her, but we say we are with you, and there are many who are with you. You have your ancestors, your guides, your guidances. You have the ones who have literally agreed to be with you in physical ways of being, meaning they never leave you as you are living the life, and they are very much present and taking care and operating with you. You all have your guardians and your guides. You all have the ones of the masters who are the resonations to you. Use them. Remember them. Call them in. As many of you are going to be seeing as time, as you see it, goes on, not only are these veils thinner, but as time itself has literally begun to change energetically on your planet based upon the light frequencies, you are going to see manifestation happening faster in your own life and in the world around you. But first you will start to really notice it within your own life. You will think a thought, you need something, you want something, it appears the next day. If you choose, as human choosers in this reality of the density of what you think is just the third dimension, if you choose to access regularly, I connect to the invisible realm of the highest light and the holy light, the good, the God, the highest, best, most benevolent, loving beings, Osairah, if you will, anyone else you choose, we would say. Then, as you open yourself up, the energy of that will move into the space with you, and palpably you'll be able to feel that on a regular basis, as so much as you're willing to be committed to allow yourself to shift from old paradigms to new. Does that make sense? So right now you're hearing us in the languaging from the frequency of the sound and the energy landing in your field all around you into the body-mind structure of your being and consciousness. But this was an agreement always. You did not land here by accident. There is a part of you, what you would say, in quote, your future selves that said, by the way, remember to go there this night, get the download, and you'll upgrade. So here we are fulfilling our end, and you're fulfilling yours. And when we say that, what we mean to say as well is this. On that level, the more you choose to tap in, be unafraid and unapologetic to be one who mumbles to the invisible realm. Because even though we're coming through our beloved channel and having the literal, and always we give great thanks to the opportunity to be here in the physical way, this transmits to you in the third dimension. Because without this way, and so many others who are participating and landing the right things for the right people at the right times, the acceleration wouldn't be able to upgrade and manifest as quickly. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. You all have said along the way, how many of you have said this along the way? Well, if I can't see it, I can't touch it, I can't, but I don't believe it. We don't just mean just you. We mean billions of people have said that. And what happened? We heard you. So here we are. Mm-hmm. Really. That is what is happening here at this time. This is not just a passing thing. This is the creation, acceleration of what it is that has been called forth by what you would consider yourselves and others in what you would call future timelines, future worlds, future lives, to bring forth the golden age, to accelerate consciousness so that this earth herself can ascend and there can be a change, a new world. You are the forerunners at this time. You are learning to stabilize energy and light quotient upon this planet. And in that way, over time, consciousness will yell out for the change to happen. Will yell and take a stand as the revolutionaries. You are like the ones, we have said this before, you are like the ones who came across this country in particular in the covered wagons when there was no charted territories, no roads. You are in the covered wagon, building a new world of consciousness to literally break down the entire system that has gotten you here, that has most definitely, as you already and many of you have seen, that has destroyed your planet on so many levels, but she will not take it to the nth degree, just so you know. Okay, fascination. And she will not take it all the way, just so you are very clear. And the heaviness, the density, the darker ones, the darkness, the ones that feed on that energy are in their last stages, and they are also bidding hard. And there is a lot of, at times, seemingly interference. Nothing to get stuck on, just to be aware of. That is a difficult thing, right? Because the systems in place, and that which we would say the rape and pillage of women, men, women, and children, and the earth herself. It's done. But yet you will see a lot before it is complete. And that we are giving you the gentle, loving reflection. Again, returning to, as you see the change and the changes, say to yourself, that's right, nothing but change here. And I go with that flow. I learn to adjust. I be nimble on my feet. I learn to be flexible. I bend like the willow tree. Open yourself up. Open yourself up to experience more. Don't stay rigid. Does that make sense? Yes. By doing so, you create new landscapes and new opportunities. You invite new friends, new experiences, new people. And dear ones, by that, you are living the fullest life possible. We want you for that to do. We want you for that to do, that you would live the fullest life that you came here for. And that when it is the time that you decide, it's time, I'm ready, let's go, and you leave the physical body, you will have that last breath, and in that last breath you'll know, I did everything I came to do. I beed all that I was supposed to be. I lived and I remembered. And I offered, and I shared, and I shined, and I carved new paths, and I opened my hand and my heart, and I remembered that even through the wounds and the change and the pain, I grew, and I learned, and I offered, and I extended, and I experienced all. And look at me now. And the me is the collective me. This is the languaging of the day. This is the way in which has been the agreement with this beloved channel through lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes to end up being here. She said, oh boy. Huh. So that the offering could be in the language that would hit you all perfectly. Drop it in like nectar and let it fill you up with the sweetness of remembering, dearest ones, that this is an evolutionary jump. Ride it for all it's got. Look around and give appreciation for the smallest, simplest things. We don't care if it is the orange on the tree and you take it and you squeeze it and you eat it, you drink it. You see the sun setting, you see the twinkle in some new friend's eye. You open your door and you smell the day. You go to bed and you love to sleep on your pillows. Whatever it is, give appreciation for the preciousness of the creation that you are as a manifestation of the divine. That's what you're doing. That's what you're about. That's what this is. And you are going to ride these waves of change oh so well. Especially because we've given you a heads up, yes? And so, we say, as always, we are ecstatic for being here in this opportunity. In this way, there is such an expansion coming, not only with you all, even with us, and with our beloved channel. There's so much